Hi guys, I'm Rick. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm making Lima Bean Pot Pie. Alright, I'm starting out here with some dried lima beans that I picked out the bad ones, rinsed them, and soaked them overnight. The overnight soak method. And you can find the directions on how to do that and a quick soak method on the back of your bean bag and cooking direction times. Now I drain the water out with fresh water and cut down on the starch. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to this. About a tablespoon. This is a recipe handed down from my mother, from her side of the family. And it's really unique. I don't think it's very popular, but it's really delicious. So I'm going to cover this up, bring this up to a gentle boil, and cook it over medium heat for about an hour and a half until those beans are tender. Okay, my beans are soft, and they took a little over an hour. They didn't take quite as long as I thought they would, so I just turned them off, moved them to the back. And what I did is I added a little olive oil into the water, and I had to put the lid on a jar because it kept going to cook over. So now that I have them sitting aside for now, in a large non-stick skillet, I have a pound of bacon here, sliced bacon. I'm going to cut it into about half-inch pieces. And if you can get a slab bacon, a chunk of that, and dice it up in little squares, that would be best. But my mom used to be able to get that back in the 70s and the 80s, but you just can't find it no more. So I'm using the sliced bacon. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cut up in here and get this browned up. And when that's done, I'll be back. Okay, now that my bacon's all browned up and crispy, and you don't want to burn it, but you want it crispy for this, I'm just going to move it aside off the heat and let it sit there in that oil for now, and we're going to move on to the pot pie. Okay, now the way my mom always made her pot pie was for each egg, she'd put in a cup of water and a pinch of salt, and then she would add flour till it reached the right consistency. So I have 3 eggs in here. I'm going to go ahead and scramble them up and add in 3 cups of water. And I only have 2 cup measuring cups, so I have to use 2 measuring cups. That's 3 cups of water, and I'm going to put in some salt. I don't want to lose my fork down in there, and I'm just going to eyeball this. About a half a teaspoon or so. And now that I have that all blended together, I'm going to go ahead and add in my flour. I'm going to start with about 1 cup of flour, and I know it's going to take more than that, but we'll start out slow. Okay, I'm going to put in a 2nd cup of flour. You just want to keep adding flour in until this reaches a dough consistency. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add in a 3rd cup of flour. And if you get too much flour in there and it's too dry, just add a little bit of water to it. I'm just going to keep adding flour to this till it reaches the right consistency to make pot pie dough out of. Okay, now that I have my dough all mixed up, and I actually made way too much pot pie dough, so I'll probably wind up throwing some of that out, but that's alright. Now my cutting board here, I'm going to roll this out in small batches because I really don't have a lot of room to roll it out. I'm going to put a little flour on there, and I'm going to put a little bit of that on my rolling pin. And like I said, I'm just going to do this in little batches. Let me get a little bit of my dough here, and this is still a little doughy, so if you have to add more flour, that's fine. Just work that in there. Okay, I'm going to get a little more flour on there. Yeah, I would probably start out with 1 cup of water, 1 egg, and a pinch of salt, and work from there and see how much you need. It's been such a long time since I made this. I'd say probably 8-10 years that I actually forgot how much pot pie dough to make. And this is sticking a little bit, so I want to coat my rolling pin really well. Get this dough worked around here. And if you're uncomfortable with making homemade pot pie, or you just don't have the time, you can go ahead and buy the pre-made pot pie squares and put them in there, and that'll work out just great. Great. I'm going to go ahead and roll my pot pie out, keeping it well floured. And if you have a bigger space, you can roll more out. That'll be a lot quicker and easier, but like I says, I'm limited on space. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut my pot pie. You just want to cut it into like medium-sized squares. I'm going to start loading this into the beans. I have that down on low over here on the stove. And if it sticks on your cutting board, just take your knife and loosen it up. Okay, get that down in there. You want to lay it flat without it touching each other so it doesn't clump into a big ball. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish rolling out the rest of my pot pie that I need. And then when we get it all in the pot, I'll be back. Alright, now that I have all my pot pie in here, and if you're going to do it in like a cast iron pot like this, you want to be careful so you don't burn your pot pie to the bottom. I'm going to take these bacon bits that I fried up earlier with a slotted spoon and taking the grease off, and I'm putting them down in a pot pie. And if you like all the ingredients in this pot pie, bacon, and lima beans, you're going to love this. So this is a really delicious, hearty meal. And I only added a little bit of salt in the beans when I boiled them because this bacon has a lot of salt in it. And this might make you cringe, but this is what makes it good. I'm going to add in just a little bit of that bacon fat to grease. Okay, let me stir this up. And as you can see, the flour in the pot pie is already starting to thicken this up. I'm going to let this cook for a little bit. I'm going to add some parsley to it and let it cook for a little bit, and then I'll taste it for salt. And we want to cook this over medium-low heat for about 15 or 20 minutes so that pot pie is cooked through, and then this will be ready to go. But I'll taste this then. If it needs a little more salt, I'll add some. But I want to wait because, like I said, that bacon has a lot of salt in it. So I'm going to cook this over medium-low, stir it frequently, keep an eye on it so it doesn't burn in the bottom of my pot and ruin the whole batch of pot pie. Alright, this is done. I tasted my pot pie. It's cooked through. It's about 15 or 20 minutes, about 20 minutes. And I added more salt in there. And like I said, I was very careful not to let this burn to the bottom of the pot. It kept cooked on practically low. So let's go ahead and fix up a plate and see what we got. Alright, there you have it. Lima Bean Pot Pie. Give this a try. I think you'll like it. And until next time, I'll see you.